Good morning and welcome members and officers and members of the public and press as well. Welcome to the meeting of the Cabinet held Wednesday 12th of January 2022. Boy, 2022. Okay, thank you. Also just to let you know, this meeting will be recorded and made available to view on via the Council's website as well. Do we have any apologies for today?
Yeah, from Stephen Harris and Dave Street.
Okay, thank you ever so much. They'll be recorded. Thank you very much. And I think everyone else is complete from Cabinet. Thank you very much. On to declarations of interest. Councillors and officers are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and/or prejudicial interest in respect of any item of business on the agenda in accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution and the Code of Conduct for both councillors and officers. Does anyone have anything to declare? No. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to approve and sign the following meetings of the Cabinet held on 8th of December 2021. Okay, yeah, we've got a few issues, I think, technically trying to get on here, so we'll just carry on and just hope that everyone is able to join us. So in terms of accuracy then, if we just go page by page. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, and page 6. Is everyone content if I can have a quick mover and seconder for those, please?
Move.
Thank you very much. And if I can just have a show of hands to approve those meeting minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you all. That's approved. Moving on to item agenda number 4, which is obviously to note the forward work programme that we have set before us. Does anyone have any amendments or any alterations to that forward work programme, or are we all happy to accept those? I can have a mover and then show of hands, please.
Move.
Thank you very much. Then if I can have a show of hands. Thank you, Cabinet. They're noted. Thank you. Moving on then to Cabinet. So the agenda item number 5, which is to receive the draft Newbridge to Risca corridor, the Lower Ebro and Sahewi Valleys master plan. And if I can hand over to Councillor Stenner, please.
Thank you, Leader. The purpose of the report before us this morning is to obtain Cabinet's endorsement for the Lower Ebro and Sahewi Valleys master plan and also approval to undertake a 6 weeks public consultation exercise between the 19th of January and the 2nd of March. The need for a strategy is to coordinate regeneration initiatives and capitalise upon funding streams is urgent to maximise the potential benefits to the county borough. The signing of the City deal in Cardiff Capital Region Investment Fund signalled an unprecedented investment of £1.2 billion to support the region's economic growth. The area this master plan covers has an existing employment base and a tourist economy. This foundation presents opportunities for economic renewal and growth, and allied to additional funding streams can promote the area as a major employment, tourism and recreation area. The master plan sets out a development strategy and framework for delivering outcomes and will form the basis for bids from funding streams for projects in the area. The recommendations are shown at 3.1 and 3.2 of the report. But before I move the recommendations, I would like to add a further recommendation to be included as 3.3 on the report, that a further report comes back to Council following the completion of the public consultation. The reasons for the recommendation is to provide a policy basis for future development and regeneration of the Lower Ebro and Sahewi Valleys. I move.
Thank you ever so much, Councillor Stenner. And if I could go to Councillor Whitcomb, please.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, I'm more than happy to read the recommendations at 3.1, 3.2 and the additional one at 3.3. I think it's essential that we consult the public on what is a very exciting prospect for the Lower Sahewi Valley from Newbridge further down. There's many opportunities in there, not least the opportunity to promote tourism in particular parts of the borough, particularly along the Risca Canal area and Cwmcan Scenic Drive. So I'm more than happy to move, Leader.
Okay, thank you ever so much for that, Councillor Whitcomb. And before I go to any questions, Dave, Lucas, I wondered if you had anything further to add following the presentation of the report?
Nothing. The only thing I would add at this point in time is just to give you a brief outline of what we're looking to do as part of the consultation. We've already created a web page for the site, and we'll be looking to have online comments through Snap surveys through that. We're going to advertise through the council's normal channels and the social media channels. We're already in contact with our communications colleagues in respect of that. We will have posters to put up in local shops and in the libraries, and we will be putting hard copies of the document into the libraries for people to inspect as well. And the process for getting them out to the libraries is already sorted in respect of that. We've got a significant consultation list, and we'll be sending out direct consultations in respect of those as well. So overall, it's going to be a mix of both paper and digital consultation and getting the message out there. The one issue that we do have is we haven't received the document back from Welsh Translation just yet. We are advised it's going to be imminent. It may be a case that we have to go out on the consultation at the start of the process and only have the English versions in the libraries, but it'll only be a couple of days before the Welsh ones get there. So that's all I'd like to add to that.
Thank you ever so much, Dave. Thank you. Councillor Stenner?
Yeah, I was going to ask Dave about, as we're still living with the COVID restrictions, could you have elaborated on how we were going to overcome the challenges of going out to a public consultation? But he's just already done that. So thank you very much. Efficient as always.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stenner. If I can go to Councillor Whiting next, please.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. I'm very pleased to see this coming through. Not just because, not just because it affects my own ward, but it affects quite a large section of the county borough as well. And I'm more than happy to endorse it. I'd like to thank everyone who's been involved in developing this master plan so far, including the other ward members, and everyone else who's attended the consultation sessions that we've had so far. I think they've been really productive, and they've clearly fed into this quite directly. I completely agree with the draft master plan in its reference to the huge potential of this particular region of the county borough, with its wide range of unique strengths and opportunities. I think we need to be doing everything we can to encourage sympathetic and positive development and regeneration of the towns in this area to help us make the most of our role as a gateway to the county borough and use our outstanding natural landscape as well. It's good to see that while this is clearly a high-level plan, it's not just a vague set of principles, objectives and a broad vision, but it mentions dozens of specific sites spread out throughout the area in some detail. Obviously, each project will need to come through individually over time, but I think this master plan creates a good framework for that to happen and will help give confidence to those looking to live, work or do business here. I hope one day this is looked on as a positive and maybe even historic document for the area. I think the next stage of the consultation now, if we approve it today, will be key to get the views of residents and other stakeholders to help refine the draft master plan. And I look forward to seeing the responses that come in at the end of the consultation.
Thank you ever so much, Councillor Whiting. Councillor George, please.
Thank you. Firstly, I'd like to thank all the officers for the report and the enormous amount of work which has gone on in the background into its construction. For me, it has been a long anticipated report which brings together a lot of the local strategies and projects under one roof. It outlines this administration's vision for the future, economic growth and renewal opportunities for the lower Ebble and Surrey valleys. I'm sure it will be well received by the public, and I urge everyone to take part in its consultation. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much, Councillor George. Absolutely, and and just to reiterate our thanks. Again, This actually covers the area that I represent in NSC, so it's absolutely fantastic to see this report coming through today. As Councillor Whiting has already indicated, a number of us as local elected members took part in those consultation meetings to help shape this master plan. And, you know, this is obviously a part of a series of master plans that we've got for the whole county borough, and it is absolutely fantastic to see this, because this is significant in terms of the natural landscape that we have, you know, and we are blessed with a beautiful landscape in many of these valleys, particularly the lower Sahawi and Ebu valleys. So I am, you know, over the moon that we're ready to go out to consultation for members of the public to have their say and to get involved in the progression of this master plan, because again, as Councillor Whiting has already alluded to, it absolutely highlights our strengths and opportunities here, and they are significant, you know, and I would urge anyone to get involved and take part in that consultation, because I think, you know, that further engagement is really, really significant for us. So I'm more than happy to endorse this, and we'll, as there are no other further hands up, I will go to the vote on this, because I think this is an extra special one that we're seeing today. So if I can have the voting card, please, Mardia. I don't know whether anyone else is seeing just a blank screen. Has it come up for everyone? Yeah, it hasn't for me.
Lita, we can take your vote verbally if you're having some technical issues with the form.
Yeah, happy to support the recommendations as laid out by Councillor Stenner. Thank you, Emma. Okay. Okay, and that's unanimous, and thank you ever so much, everyone, apart from the technical issue I just had there. So, okay, thank you very much, Dave, and thanks for your time. Okay, if we can go to agenda item number 6 now, and that's to receive the active travel network map, and if I can hand over to Councillor Pritchard, please.
Thank you, Leader, and Happy New Year to everybody. And it wouldn't be like Teams if we didn't have any technical issues. Do we? So we start as we mean to go on. Yeah. Thank you, Leader. Before I begin, can I thank the officers who have brought forward the report, and to members of the Environment and Sustainability Committee who considered the active travel network on the 7th of December. I think it's important from the outset to say that this report, and any report that is brought forward to promote active travel and sustainable travel, has got some teeth and genuine outcomes, and I do believe this report demonstrates this. So just to begin, Leader, the Active Travel Wales Act 2013 requires all local authorities in Wales to continuously improve their active travel routes and plan how routes will join up from networks so that people can more easily get about by bicycle or as a pedestrian for their everyday journeys to work, school and other local destinations. Active travel is important in promoting healthier lifestyles and reducing the negative impact of traffic upon our neighbourhoods and communities. Members will see by clicking the link contained in 5.9 that there appears to be a disparity in the number of responses to the consultation by area. But a key reason for this is owing to the fact that the Act only applies to specific designated areas in Wales, which have been determined by Welsh Government and are based on the population size of settlements. So those communities and areas that are included within the Act are listed in 5.4. So the initial phase has seen a significant response rate, with further 2 phases receiving a reduced but still encouraging response rate. One question the public may have is why the response rate dipped through the stages, but the final consultation took on board all the comments of the first and second consultation, so therefore I think it's fair to say that the consultees are happy with the final routes, and that's the reason why there are fewer comments later on in the stages. So an in-depth stakeholder mapping process formed the starting point of the consultation is to make sure all audiences suggested within the active travel delivery guidance were included. So that means, for instance, children and young people, 9 schools with 113 responses from pupils, seldom heard groups, groups with protected characteristics, people who feel unable to travel actively, as well as key stakeholders, delivery partners, the wider public and persons that have requested to be consulted. I'd like to take this opportunity for thanking all of those who have taken part in the consultation exercise, and perhaps particularly the 113 pupils who have clearly demonstrated a desire to improve the environment with offering up their own suggestions. If members refer to section 10 in the Scrutiny report, it explains the mapping process in more detail. So to accompany the launch of the consultation, an email campaign reached out to over 110 groups, community hubs, charities, sports clubs, businesses, adjoining local authorities, community partnerships, elected members, community and town councillors. There was also engagement on social media, a members' webinar, digital flyers and posters to encourage a good response rate. I think members will agree there wasn't a lack of consultation, and in fact, the complete opposite is true. I said at the beginning of the contribution that reports on active travel have to have some genuine outcomes. I think that is important. I'm pleased to report, as things stand, 216 kilometres of new routes have been added based upon a desktop study. Although, upon further investigation, not all routes might be compliant with the active travel design guide, potential routes will be further analysed and developed before funding bids are submitted to Welsh Government for delivery. As Cabinet Member, I will be working on the new routes with officers, and the new routes I will be happy to work with local members on potential new schemes when funding from Welsh Government becomes available. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you ever so much, Councillor Pritchard. And if I can go to Councillor Whitcomb, please.
Thank you, Leader. I'm more than happy to second this report. It's quite extensive, and the level of consultation it contained within the report emphasises the level of consultation that the authority has gone to. So I'm more than happy to second the report and the recommendations contained in 3.1. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Whitcomb. Clive, did you want to add anything further to the report?
Thank you, Leader. Just one comment, really. Councillor James has stated that because of Welsh Government restrictions, it only affects certain areas of the county borough, but that hasn't restricted our ambition. The existing adopted integrated network map has around 112 routes in it, but this proposed active travel network map has almost 400, so we have considerably extended the scope of what we're proposing. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Clive, and that's really important, isn't it? You know, in terms of setting out our ambition for this area, and I think that's very portable and well done for that, because that's a considerable difference, isn't it, in terms of the miles of routes. So thank you. Do any of the Cabinet have any further questions, or is there anything that needs any further explanation? Councillor Gordon.
Okay. Just a comment, Leader. I'm happy to support the report, but I look forward to seeing more specifics in due course.
Okay, thank you ever so much, Councillor Gordon. Councillor, who came up first there? It was Councillor Pritchard, if you'd like to come in.
Just to say, Leader, as I said towards the end of my contribution, if any local member within the authority, all 73 members, wish to get in touch with me about specifics in their own area, of course, as Cabinet Member, I'm more than happy to do that. So, Councillor Gordon, get in touch and we'll work through some things. Okay.
Thank you ever so much, Councillor Pritchard. And if I can go to Councillor Whiting, please.
Yeah, just a quick one, just to welcome and endorse the fact that some of our learners were involved in this, and they were obviously very keen on it. And I think whenever you speak to young people, you know that this is probably one of the most environmentally conscious generation the planet's ever seen, and certainly locally. So it's no surprise, I suppose, that they're really keen on this, and I really hope this helps them to improve their health and be environmentally conscious as well.
Absolutely. Thanks ever so much for that, Councillor Whiting. I think it's really important, isn't it? Because it's setting the standard and hopefully something that becomes lifelong in terms of activity and also routine and the way you go about connecting with different workplaces, leisure activities, etc. I think it's really important that we recognise that. So thank you for those comments. There are no further hands up in relation to that. So I think without further ado, we'll go to the vote on this. And thank you again, Clive, as well, for the report. Again, I'm having a technical issue here. I'm just seeing a blank screen. So if you can take my vote as in support of. Thank you. That's unanimous, and thank you, everyone. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the meeting, and if I can have the recording stopped now, and thank all attendees for coming today. Thank you.